Today's video, I'm going to be showing you through our 5 favorite board games. I absolutely love incorporating board games into our homeschool. Even better, I love matching up themes to, a theme board game to a particular theme in our homeschool to kind of, bring that investigation to life. Welcome, my name is Tiffany and this is Into Life Homeschool. My channel is all about motherhood, homeschooling and organisation. I am so absolutely passionate about sharing what works for our homeschool, so hopefully it will work for your homeschool. Thank you for joining me and I hope you stick around so that you can find out all about our 5 board games that we adore. And also I'm going to leave a couple of little tips at the end to just kind of help you if you're new to introducing board games to your homeschool. I'm going to share how I went about kind of incorporating board games because it wasn't actually something that was well received at first. Well, hitting a brick wall when it came to getting them interested in actually playing the game with us. So we created the atmosphere. I'm going to chat about at the end of the video a little bit more about how we created that atmosphere, how we incorporated it, and how the kids are generally more inclined to choose a board game over a Xbox game or an online game. The first game I'm going to show you is an absolutely beautiful game. I think every single one of these board games that I'm going to show you today are stunning. So, Wildcraft is a cooperative game. The game time, it says about 40 to 60 minutes, but it's definitely on more of the 60-minute side for us. With Wildcraft, you can find online, they give you a link for a story to go with the game. So it's optional, but I highly recommend it. It is something that brought life to the game. It really brought a lot of context for my kids. This is one of the first games that we started playing, and it was definitely a wonderful start because it's got that cooperative approach, which means it's not competitive. It's actually you're working as a team towards a particular goal. In this case, it's actually reaching the top of the hill. So there are various challenges along the way, and it's all very nature-based. So grandma needs huckleberries to bake a pie, and you and your cousins embark on an adventure up to the mountain to collect berries as well as herbs that she uses. So it's will you harvest the right plants to help with the trouble you run into along the way? And will you make it back before nightfall? The only way to win is by helping each other out. So it is definitely a cooperative game, and basically the aim is to get to the top of the mountain to get those huckleberries for grandma, but then you have to get back down to the house before nightfall. So you have some little tokens that shows you as the day passes that you're getting towards nighttime. And you have to get up the mountain and then back down again before that happens. Otherwise, no one wins. So it's kind of like you're working together. You have the opportunity to actually heal the other player along the way as well. And along the way, you pick up, as it said, along the way, you pick up plants and herbs, all sorts of things that can work towards helping you along the way if you should injure yourself or run into a particular problem. So it's really cool. It allows you to kind of learn a little bit more about plants. We got a little bit obsessed after we first started playing this. We started a herb garden and went completely crazy over herbs and learning how, they can really definitely help us. So that's definitely a wonderful game. And it has caused us to play over and over and over, and it's really enjoyable and the kids really enjoy it. The next game that has made our top 5 is Karuba. So Karuba is a stunning game. It is a beautiful game. It has beautiful little pieces to it. So it has a recommendation age of 8 and above. My 7-year-old has played this game and has enjoyed it. She generally needs a little bit of assistance with particular things, but I found the more she plays these games, the easier it is for her. So for the first time, you kind of need to, assist a little bit more and help with understanding the rules, especially if there's lots of moving parts. But essentially by the end of the game, she's ready to play it again and it's all fine. So it's definitely one that I think that you could manage to play with younger siblings and things if they are supported. So for this particular game, you're trying to build your path towards the particular destination. So you have multiple characters and they each need to get to their destination to get the treasure first before the other player. This game incorporates a lot of problem solving. It's really, really great for problem solving. You know, figuring out strategies of how you're going to get there. You need to build your path to the destinations, and that involves a lot of strategy and a lot of thinking. So yeah, great for problem solving. The time play would be around the 40-minute mark, maybe a little bit more if you need to kind of stop and explain particular rules and things like that. The actual experience, the game experience, is wonderful because each player has their own little board, and I feel like that definitely helps for younger players to understand what's going on, and they can just focus on themselves rather than what everyone else is doing. Other than Wildcraft, Karuba is probably the least competitive game. Okay, let's talk about Stone Age. This is probably one of my favorite games. And it is just stunning again. I know I keep saying that, but these games, guys, like, games have changed a lot since my Monopoly days when I was a kid. Not anything against Monopoly. I have some very fond memories of playing all of those games, you know, but games have gone to a whole new level now. There is just so much to these games. So Stone Age is working in really well with our history unit. So we tend to play this and we really do feel like we're kind of thinking back to old times, to the Stone Ages, and kind of really thinking about how it would have been like back then. This brings that to life. So if you're into history or you're doing a history study, this is just a beautiful, gentle way to kind of just talk about it and bring it up within your family and just kind of just feel excited about it. That has certainly done that for us. Now, this game is recommended for 10 plus, but my 7-year-old handles it just fine, as long as we kind of remind her, of the rules and things like that. This is one of our newer games, so we've only played it a couple of times, but the times that we have played it have been phenomenal. I will say though, it does say that it's about 60 to 90-minute game time, but we took much longer. I don't know. I think that each one of us really had to think hard about our choices within the game, and that just obviously took a lot longer for us. So there are a lot of problem solving, but there's a lot of strategizing in this game. There's a lot of, it's gentle in competition, but there are elements in this game where you can prevent the other player from progressing as much because you can take the elements that they might want as well. So that's probably the only real competitive aspect to it. But there are lots of varied ways that you can win this game, and it's not the most obvious. So it's kind of a nice surprise when you actually work out who is actually winning. It's not obvious who the winner is. So that I really liked because it didn't make too much tension within the game. We just enjoyed playing it, and then at the end we realized who actually won once we worked all the points out and things at the end. So I really like that as well. Now, the parts to this game, I think out of all of our games, this is probably the most beautiful to me. There's lots of parts, not great for little ones. So I don't recommend it for anyone that likes to put things in their mouth. This is not a good game for them to have around. A lot of elements to this game, but the main aim is to basically be able to build your own village as quickly and effectively as possible. You have access to various elements. You still have to feed your village as they grow. So you have the opportunity to grow your village, but then you have more people to feed, which means more people have to go out and fetch the food. There are also elements where you have to go and forage for building supplies. Really great game. Lots and lots of problem solving and just kind of thinking about how whether you're going to lots of choices to make. You've got to choose whether you're going to try and build more homes for your village, or whether you're going to try and find more people for your village. Yeah, it's a really, really great, interesting game to play. There's always something happening. Definitely not a game that you grow bored with. There's lots happening all the time. So, wonderful game. Okay, so Splendor. Splendor is quite possibly the most relaxing game out of all of these. So out of the 5 games I've shown you, this is my son's favorite. He loves to play this game. He gets very relaxed and just really gets engrossed in what he's doing. Splendor is recommended for 10 plus, but my daughter plays it and absolutely loves it as well. It is a game that we often play when we have friends over, when the kids have friends over. It is definitely one that is on the easier side to kind of explain and follow. My kids have found it really enjoyable to play. They really like the tokens. They're beautiful. Splendor is known as an engine building game, which means that you can increase the ability to get more points. It's a medium competitive, so it's not super competitive. You're not like actively attacking your opponent, but you are taking away their ability to advance in the game. You have the opportunity to take away their ability to advance in the game. So Splendor is a great game for, it doesn't have a huge amount of moving parts, but it is very tactile still. So I guess that's probably why my son loves it so much. And my daughter. It is all about gems and stones and all that sort of stuff. So if you kind of like that aspect, that's definitely popular with my children as well. It is not super obvious who the winner might be. As again, it's a little bit like Stone Age in the sense that, you know, you can kind of be, the opportunity to see a winner straight away is not super obvious. You have to add everything up at the end of the game. So yeah, it's a good game. We definitely have played this probably more than any of the other games. It's definitely one that we reach for. So this is a 2 to 4 player game, and the game time is around 30 minutes, and that's pretty accurate. It says 30 minutes here. That's probably around what we have played it as well. That's how long it takes us to play. So wonderful game. Definitely recommend. Obviously, we recommend all of these because they're all our 5 favorites, but yeah, wonderful game. Dragonwood is a wonderful addition to our game library. Obviously, it's made our top 5, but it's also one of the very first games that we ever got. It is a very simple game. It's literally just a dice and card game. And the cards are really textural. They're a beautiful card, great to hold on to. So that's a really great start. So there are 6 dice in the game. This game is aimed at 8 and above, and I probably agree. Although my 7-year-old handles it fairly well. She's almost 8. So the game time is about 20 minutes. So it's a really great, of all the 5 games I've shown you, it's the shortest game to play and probably the easiest as well. It is very luck based. So that is where the frustration can come from, in the sense that you can't really control who the winner is. It's just a luck-based game. So that can be frustrating for some people that really love the strategy types of games. So something to keep in mind. But it's also really great for, you know, the fact that it is luck game. Kids that are a little bit younger, that sometimes don't have that level of strategizing worked out yet. This is a wonderful game for them. So my daughter really, really does enjoy playing this because it is luck-based, although sometimes she has terrible luck in this game. It does happen to be a pattern of my husband and my daughter have the least amount of luck in this particular game with the 6 dice. The main point of the game is to have the highest results of your throwing your dice, the highest number. It gives you more power to do more things with it, so more points. It is a point system game, and it is a kind of medieval approach. So there's goblins and trolls and wizards and dragons, of course, and you can, it has like weapon cards, and everything is coming from the points that you earn from your dice. So the amount of points that you get it enables you to have more powerful decisions within the game. So that's where the luck comes from. This game is a competitive game, but it is probably rated medium. It's definitely not attacking the opponent in any way. It is more just taking opportunities away from them, like all the other games that we've had, apart from Wildcraft. All of them are literally just on that medium level of competitiveness. So that works really well within, families that have, they're still working on that, being able to handle competition within the family. So these games are wonderful games for us. They have done so much for us. This particular one really teaches strategy and probability, because you can kind of, assess from the number that you've gotten from your throwing the dice as to how far you could get with that number. You could do this, this, or this, and work out how that would affect you in each way. You've got to work out, can I achieve this, or can I stretch myself as far as I can with those points? So it is definitely a wonderful game for the sense of understanding numbers, understanding the power of numbers. Really great for younger ones that are still kind of working on their numbers. It encourages that. So yes, wonderful game. Highly recommend it. It was one of our first games, so I do recommend it for families that may have not played games and don't want the overwhelming effect of all of the pieces of a game like perhaps Stone Age. It is much more intense in terms of how many pieces and how many things are moving, but this is a very straightforward sort of game and very easy to follow in that sense. So guys, there you have it. It's our 5 favorite games that we have within our homeschool. We have so much love for these games. They have just brought so many hours of just good times within our family. So many wonderful memories of just sitting around and playing. I wanted to share with you a couple of tips for those that may have been wanting to start incorporating board games but not really sure how. It was not easy for us to begin with. Let me just start by saying board games was something that my husband and I really wanted to do within our family, but we struggled big time. And it involved a lot of research on my husband's part, really. He's the one that has really endeavored to create this atmosphere of playing board games within our homeschool. I definitely wanted to, but I just didn't have the capacity at the time to research all of the games. And there's just so many games to choose from. It's like trying to figure out what the heck is going on with all those games. And you have to spend a fair bit of time watching gameplay videos as well. So this is a great way to start. These are wonderful additions to start off with. The Wildcraft is a great beginner's game, teaching, cooperative gaming. And then moving on to something more simple like Dragonwood would be a wonderful start. Then Splendor. And then I'd probably kind of choose between Stone Age or Karuba. Karuba probably being more on the less intense side, but Stone Age is so much fun. This is my particular favorite one at the moment. It always changes, but yeah, wonderful games. But I will say that atmosphere has a big part to play for us, and I can only share what works for us, and what works for you will be different, and you will understand that. You will know as you start to play, some things that other people recommend are just not right for you. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not right for you forever. Shelve it and try and take a step back and go simpler. And then you might find that you can bring that game back out and play it, because your kids have gotten a little bit older and they've understood gaming a little bit more and able to sit for longer. That said, I think that atmosphere is incredibly important. So when we wanted to start playing games, we were competing with things like PlayStation and Xbox and computer games and all of that wonderful virtual reality and all of that sort of stuff. Those are all wonderful things, but we wanted board games. We wanted to have that face-to-face contact with our kids, and we wanted to make it more important than all of the other games that they could choose from, and make it a special time for our family to get together and have those board game nights. So we encouraged it by creating it into a big party. So I would put out party food, the kinds of foods that you would only get at a birthday party. that kind of stuff. We made the atmosphere to encourage them to join us and just sit around for that little bit longer. And I think the next biggest tip would be quit while you're ahead. Do not make them sit for the entire game. If you think that they're getting antsy, leave it there and come back to it the next day. That is the biggest thing. Or if you have to put it away and just end it there, that's fine. It was still a really great experience. But for me, we have, and still do, particularly with some of the longer playing games, leave it on the table and play it, come back to it. So that involves, just kind of playing for 10 minutes. If that means just playing for 10 minutes and that's all the kids can handle, that's okay. That's what we did too. It was 10 minutes and we had a great time, but we could tell we'd reached that capacity. It was starting to get a little tense, and we left it there and we left the game and we came back to it the next day, fresh, ready to play, and we got another 10 minutes. And then we finished the game and it was like, okay, this is wonderful. This was a great experience. This was a positive experience. And then the next time we went to play, they understood the game a little bit better and we played the whole 20 minutes. So you can move towards that game time and increasing that, resilience, the ability to just be able to sit for longer and concentrate for that amount of time. Especially when the game is new, it takes a lot of concentration. It takes a lot of concentration on my part, let alone a kid that has to, they're still learning their numbers or still learning how to read. And there's all these other factors that are, there's moving parts and everything. And it's just, it can be really overwhelming. So keeping those games, starting off with things that maybe have a story base is great. It gives context so they understand what they're actually aiming for is something that they can imagine doing. And then, something that kind of allows them to have tactile pieces, things to hold and things that they want to be able to engage with. It keeps them concentrating and allows them to get really into the game, into the storyline. So that's what's wonderful about these kinds of games. They keep the concentration, they keep that context, and the stories behind them are really wonderful and charming. Let alone the beauty, the pure beauty of these games as well. They've been great winners in our family. Okay, so those are my tips. I hope that perhaps they might help you and being able to bring the love of board games to your homeschool as well. If you have any questions about these particular games at all, let me know and I would love to chat with you in the comments below. Or you can contact me on Instagram as well and message me there too. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed hearing about these wonderful games. I hope you might consider including a couple of them into your homeschool as well. But they've been great winners for us and brought us so many wonderful moments. Thank you for joining me. If you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next video. And thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I'd love for you to like it so I know to make more videos like this. I could show you the rest of our library of board games. It is ever growing. So I always have a constant supply of new games coming in. It's just something that we've really prioritized in our homeschool because it's something that we really enjoy. It's part of that quality family time that we just love so much. Thanks again for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the video and I will see you next time.